I'm Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, and everybody's got a price for lazy booking. Hey, this is your Olympic hero, Kurt Angle, and you're listening to Lazy Booking. No, it's true. It's damn true. Ho! Hey, folks, I'm WWE Hall of Famer Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and if you want to know what's going on in wrestling, check out Lazy Bookings. Ho!
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new edition of Lazy Booking right here on A2DRadio.com. Brought to you by Gibson Mayer LLC, your certified public accountants, located at 301 Oxford Valley Road in Yardley, PA. You can give them a call at 215-369-3300. Tax season will be back before you know it, so be ready, be prepared, and call Gibson Mayer.
Welcome back, guys. Lazy Booking live on A2D Radio from the Real Talk Studios. Maddie Sensudi, Chrome, Mike Mataraki joining us again this week. And back from his European adventures, Ryan Brodo. He is back.
Hello,
Welcome
guys.
back, guy.
Hello.
Holiday Road. He went his European vacation.
Yeah, I did.
Or escapades, whichever one.
I mean,
There you go.
he's back. He's ready to go. We're fired up. It's Hell in a Cell weekend. And our Scanzano Sports poll question: which title is most likely to change hands at Hell in a Cell? The WWE Championship, the Universal Championship, SmackDown Women's Championship, Raw Women's Championship. Obviously, we know the tag team titles are on the line as well. So join us: Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Instagram. What's up, guys? We're looking forward to chatting with you guys. So, guys,
On the gram.
on the gram and on the Twitter, as our good man Chris Jericho says.
The Twitter.
We're going to talk Hell in a Cell. We're going to talk the pay-per-view card. We're also going to talk about the legacy of Hell in a Cell and kind of how the WWE is now tying in the legacy of that to the current show. And is it a good idea? Is it a bad idea? We'll break down into that. Also on the other side, we're going to have other conversations about some of the other events that are in the past. Now, we didn't have a show last week because of the Eagles premiere. Season opener. So we're going to catch up. I think we're going to just do a little brief all-in conversation because we didn't get to share our thoughts yet. A couple other things we're going to get into. And, of course, this day in pro wrestling, which we always enjoy sharing, the random things that happen to pop up. So, Hell in a Cell. Maddie's bought up our card here. We're going to go through the card. We figure our Raw, SmackDown, well, that'll be part of the conversation when we talk about the build-up. So, over on the Facebook, a couple quick comments. Andy Ritter. Gentlemen, what's going on? Andy has joined A2D as well, so welcome to him. His shows, did his show start yet?
No, I think it's actually starting this coming Monday.
This Monday. So make sure you check them out. David Rosca, hello. What's up, Rosca? Rosca was a happy man, I'm sure, last night, looking at Miss Mandy Rose, right? We were talking about that before the show started.
And you just set him off.
Rob Povia says, I'm excited.
Way to go, Chrome.
And Povia says, I'm excited to see Mick Foley back in the cell. Again, that's going to be part of our conversation.
It makes one of us.
Yeah. And Andy Ritter says, I want that Universal Championship to change hands bad. Braun needs it. So, anything on who's got the YouTube up?
Needs it?
Needs it.
Let me take a look here. Oh, I have the Facebook up. Let me go.
We'll keep the Facebook up because we know Facebook does not like us. And when we try to read the long comments.
I got the tube up, but everybody on the tube is double dipping, and you have them on the book, too.
Double dippers.
You double dippers.
That's all right. We dig it.
Rosca says Trish Stratus should have done gymnastics next to Nadia Comaneci.
This guy lives in one hell of a fantasy
Whatever
world.
works for you, Rosca.
I dig it, though, Rosca. I dig it, man. Hey, different strokes for different folks.
And then there's Rosca.
And then there's Rosca. We love him. Rosca's our boy. All right, so let's run down the card.
It's your boy.
Actually, do we want to answer the poll question as we go through the matches, or are we just going to jump right in and then dig in? What do you guys want to do? What are you guys feeling? Maybe as we go through the card.
I think as we go through the card.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brodo's like, whatever you guys want to do.
I'm
cool.
here.
He's
cool.
just in the
I'm
corner
I'm
right
over
now.
here.
Yeah.
All right, so let's run down the card.
I'm just the guest, so whatever you guys want to do.
I just got back from Europe, so I don't know what's going on, to be honest.
I bring star power.
Brodo's like, SummerSlam just ended, right? Is it still SummerSlam?
Wait, does Goldberg still have the title?
Did I miss Royal Rumble?
All right, so go ahead, Maddie. Give us the first match that's listed on the card there.
All right, so first matchup is a mixed tag team match. It is Brie Bella and Daniel Bryan, one married couple, versus the other married couple, Maurice and The Miz.
So how are you guys feeling about the build-up to this match at this point? Because I think one thing that we've talked about is, it was expected to be botch versus botch last night. Tuesday night.
What do we say? Botch versus disinterested? Yeah. Something like that?
Something along those lines. But, I mean, clearly, obviously this week on SmackDown, we had Brie Bella back. Maurice for her first singles match on SmackDown in 7 years. And it was gimmicky, which I guess you kind of expected that at this point.
And they kept it very short, which was another good thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely didn't try to do too much with it.
Speaking of botch, on Monday, was it last week? Not this past Monday, but Brie trying twice to do the dive through the middle ropes, and both times
face planted.
Just like, I was like, after the first try, it's just like, are you sure that was the smartest thing in the world to do? Try it a second time? Because
and it's interesting that you said that, Matty, because that was why when the whole idea came up that it was, it was going to be Maurice versus Brie one-on-one, that's immediately I just thought, oh, that's a botch fest.
Yeah.
After watching Brie last week face plant twice and completely blow another move during the course of the match as well, and it's not limited to her. Nikki didn't really look so hot on Monday night either, but we'll get to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All I know is that the men are going to have to carry the brunt of this match.
They are. I mean, it's very much been more about the women in this build up for the mixed tag, and I guess they're trying to build the interest with the women being implemented into it. Who's going to win the match, guys? I'm thinking it's probably going to be Bryan and Brie Bella, so that we can have the rubber match between Miz and Bryan.
See, I'm going to disagree with you. I think it's going to be the Miz and Maurice, and I think the Miz and Maurice are going to keep going over and going over and going over and going over until they either get to either Royal Rumble or WrestleMania, when the Danielson family, if you will, finally gets their hands raised in victory.
I'm going to go with Maurice and The Miz, and I say they do kind of the same thing they did at SummerSlam. It winds up being a bullshit finish. They sneak it out through less than honorable means.
Less than honorable.
For me, I actually agree. I think it's definitely going to be Maurice and Miz, because for a couple different reasons. Number one, they're going to keep, like you said, Mike, they're going to keep building and building and building and building. I think the only time Daniel's going to win is the final match that they have, because it's going to be a build-up to finally getting the revenge on Miz. Two, I know how they play around with this TV show, and it's stupid, but I think in the back of their minds they're like, oh, well, we don't want Miz and Maurice to lose because they'll make the TV show look less credible. It sounds stupid, but would you be shocked if they're thinking that, to be honest?
No, not at all.
No.
I think the way they're going to go with it in match, they're not going to have Daniel Bryan take the pin. I think a big reason for this match to happen, aside from the storyline, is that Daniel Bryan can lose a match without getting pinned. I think it's going to be a cheap finish with Maurice pinning Brie.
Okay. To your point, though, their show the season is done. Total Divas is now the show that's coming up. Would they, if they're worrying about making credibility out of the show and building a storyline for the show, wouldn't Brie's return with Bryan be the big story?
Right, but
over Miz and Mrs.?
Right, but the season for Total Bellas should already be 100% in the can.
Yep.
And they're shooting Miz and Mrs. now.
Exactly.
So it's almost like
Maurice is part of Total Divas this season, right?
I don't know. But you bring up a good point. Is it, do they, is there a group, does Nikki have to win in order to promote the current season of Total Bellas, even though that entire season is done, shot, and in the can already? Or does Maurice have to win because they're probably shooting the next season of Miz and Mrs. right now, and this match is probably a part of that season?
Did you ever think we'd see the day that we have to worry about what an
reality TV?
USA
I
show
hope
is
we
gonna
wouldn't,
be
but unfortunately that's our reality right
that
now.
would affect such a program like Daniel Bryan and Miz?
It's unbelievable.
Of course,
Fall the
back in
mighty
the
have
day,
fallen.
if anyone even hinted at the idea of doing a reality show in the locker room, they would have been beaten the shit out of and thrown right
It's
out
called
of the
Wrestler's
locker
Court.
room.
Matty.
Andy Ritter said fine, doesn't need it, but but it deserves it. The title change. Tom says no clue, LOL. Andy's got to step out, but he said he'll be back when he can.
Andy, why does he either need it or deserve it? He's the most over guy on the roster, and he hasn't sniffed anything close to a title other than winning the greatest battle royal or the greatest Royal Rumble
Ever.
and having the briefcase. Like, he's gotten over bigger, better, and further without having a title than anyone that I can ever remember.
In a long
So
time anyway.
why does he need it or deserve it?
It's a fair question. I don't know that he necessarily needs it. The only thing I don't like is the idea of a wasted Money in the Bank cash-in. That's my issue.
And
Because I think they could have done so much more with him with Money in the Bank.
And we've talked about that before. So just the fact that it is a cash-in, there's only been, 3 unsuccessful cash-ins?
Sandow,
Corbin
and Cena.
and Cena. So 3. So would they go so far as to have him be the 4th, or are we immediately looking at a title change? Or do we want to just hold off on that until we get to that match?
We'll get to that
All
match.
right.
But it's all fair points. Frank says, hey, yo.
Hey, yo. Sorry to
Is-
bother you at work.
He didn't apologize this time. What a rude son of a
Because I was
bitch.
yelling at him on the phone 5 minutes before the show.
Hey, yo, is none a choice? This smells like that all the titles are not changing hands. Zachary Mole says, who's winning? Who wins, AJ Styles or Samoa Joe? We'll get to that. Stick with us, Zachary. Guys, feel free to chime in with who you guys, as we go through the card, who you guys think is going to win as well. So we got 3 for Miz and Maurice, and myself obviously going to be the different guy. I'm going to go with
Such
Daniel
a
Bryan
mark.
and Brie
Now,
Bella.
before we move, we move on to the next matchup, do you think that maybe as they go along with this whole rivalry between Bryan and Miz being the main focal point here, at the end of it, in the final match between the two where Bryan does go over, do you see that possibly being a tie-in to the winner of this match gets a shot at the WWE title? Or do you think they try and go that route towards the end of the rivalry?
I don't think this rivalry is going to be over after this. It's going to go on for a little bit longer, probably at least Survivor Series. Maybe a title shot at Royal Rumble,
Okay.
possibly. I think that you're going to get a lot more life still out of Samoa Joe and AJ Styles, regardless of how that match ends up finishing anyway.
I actually think that the end of the feud has The Miz as the U.S. champion, and Daniel Bryan winds up winning the U.S. championship from him, and that becomes then the blow-off of the feud. I do see a Daniel Bryan U.S. title run then catapulting him back into the title picture, because everybody would love to see him and Joe or him and AJ, but
Sure.
I don't think they can go there yet.
No,
I don't think they're anywhere close.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot that's got to be ironed out before they get to that for sure.
I honestly, you can call it a hot take. I could honestly see them expanding this feud to Royal Rumble, and if they do that, I actually predict that it's kind of, let's go flashback to when Daniel Bryan faced Bray Wyatt. It was a great match, and then he was in the Rumble match afterwards. Or no, or was he in the Rumble match, or they wanted him to be?
No, they wanted him to be, and it was Rey Mysterio.
Okay. So, my prediction, if they expanded that far, is that Daniel Bryan in one night will win and end that feud with The Miz, then go on to win the Royal Rumble. I could see them doing that.
I could see Bryan winning the Rumble, kind of similar to like Bret Hart and Owen at WrestleMania 10, where Miz gets over on Daniel Bryan at Rumble, but Bryan comes out and wins the Rumble.
No, I think it would be Daniel Bryan goes over on Miz. So
And then-
basically he wins twice. So it's the night of Daniel Bryan almost.
If
It's
they
the
do
full
that-
redemption, full circle.
If they do that, though, would it just be a straightforward match, or would it be one of those things where whoever wins the match gets the final spot in the Rumble?
I was thinking that, but the problem I have with that is that that's not realistic, in my opinion, because Miz and Bryan, while they're not technically top guys, they're not
Because they're not the Revival.
Yeah, good point. They're not in the echelon of like a jobber to somebody on Superstars, for example. You know what I mean? Like, fair point again.
Arriba!
As Chrome likes to say, the king of the jobbers.
Because I honestly think if they did that, and this is kind of like falls under the category of what we've been talking about for a while on how we really want Braun Strowman to do the double cash-in type of a scenario, I think that would be a great storyline to have because it would be full circle for Daniel Bryan for two separate reasons. Number one, it's revenge on his former, the biggest enemy he's had, obviously his former pro from NXT. And two, in that same night, he wins the Rumble, and then he starts the road to going after the title he really never lost. I really think if they did that, they can market it really well, but they probably won't do that.
No, I mean, that's a fair point. I think it would be to continue because I could see them trying to push this even to Mania. I could see. Absolutely. I think in order to do that, you would have to do where Miz gets the first shot, and again, whether it's a retain or wins, because I think maybe Bryan defeats Nakamura, then these two again maybe face off at Royal Rumble. Miz takes the title at Rumble, and then boom, Bryan comes out and wins, and it's kind of one of those like
one-up spaceship.
I beat him, but then he came out and got me. He took my spot in the main event.
If you do that, then you can actually go to the route of eventually when he loses the U.S. title, he could then be a challenger to Bryan later on as he's champion because that's just anger and bitterness towards him because it's like, how come he's champion yet he's never beaten me?
Right. Yeah. I think it would be a lot like the Brett and Owen thing from WrestleMania 10.
I can see that.
Yeah.
All right, then. So, the SmackDown Women's Championship, it is Charlotte Flair defending against Becky Lynch.
I'm on board with Senor Brodo now. Double turn. Double turn's going to happen at this one.
Hey, welcome.
Wait a minute.
How about this?
I've been calling for the double turn since SummerSlam, or since 2 nights after SummerSlam.
Oh, I was doing it. I think Chrome and I were arguing for 6 months.
Before SummerSlam on this.
I actually agree with that as well. I think, though, the double turn results in a non-finish.
Me too.
Which then allows this to become the main event for Evolution.
I agree. I agree with that. I think that's absolutely – well, unless Ronda is the main event in Evolution, which would not shock me. But it will be the title match for Evolution for sure.
See, I'm very intrigued to see if they go the route where Charlotte has people to help her to do the whole double turn, where now you feel bad for Becky, where it's like, okay, so Becky, I can understand why she was mad. She got screwed over at SummerSlam because Charlotte had to be in the match. Now Charlotte's just getting people involved so that way she can keep the belt and keep Becky down.
Let me ask you guys a question. It's the most famous double turn in WWE/WWF history.
Stone Cold and Bret Hart.
And who helped Bret? You can do an effective double turn without the new heel having any help.
Yeah, you don't need it.
As long as they heel out in the most heel way possible.
Listen, I mean, another effective double turn that happened was slightly more gradual on one side after, but it was very obvious it was coming, was Rock and Hogan at WrestleMania 18. It took another, 1 or 2 months, but Rock eventually made that turn as well. So I agree. I don't think you need the help in this. The only reason I question if they'll pull the trigger on it is there's still a lot of hot talk that there possibly could be that horsewomen match at Survivor Series, which if you do effectively do that, you can't have that match. To me, the double turn would be more effective here to do that. And then maybe down next year you can look at maybe doing that horseman. Because at this point, nobody cares about Sasha or Bayley anyway. These are the two women that are the focal point that need to have the spotlight, and I think it's gonna. I think this is the time to do it if they're gonna do it.
I can tell you right now how to work the hell out of this double turn too. It comes out the day of the show that Becky has requested that it be a no disqualification match. Paige grants the wish, so it's no disqualification.
This should have been in Hell in a Cell, by the way.
I agree. I agree completely. At some point during the match, Becky quote unquote turns an ankle or hurts a knee or something like that, and Charlotte just goes ape shit and beats the hell out of her leg, ram it into the post, hit it with a chair, slam it into the steps.
A la Bret Hart and Stone Cold, absolutely.
Put the figure 8 on, don't take it off. You know, just Becky gets to the ropes, no disqualification match, leave it on. And basically make the crowd start booing you because you just are relentlessly beating the hell out of their anti-hero.
I like that scenario. I have one that I could see them doing that, but there's another one I could actually see them doing more in a way. And it doesn't even involve anything on Sunday. It involves everything on Tuesday. You have the match go down. You know, at least I would assume that most of the crowd is going to be pro Becky during that pay-per-view.
Oh, sure.
Especially if she wins.
Safe to say.
If they go with a clean finish, which I don't think they will, I can almost assure you that it's going to be a no contest. I'd be shocked if it wasn't. But if it ends with Becky Lynch winning, I could see them easily doing one simple thing. Have Charlotte come out on Tuesday, has a mic, and goes on a promo talking about how it isn't right that the crowd cheers for Becky Lynch, even though Becky Lynch jumps her when she's talking to kids in the crowd. You know, oh my God, I'm the queen. I deserve better than this. I never cared what you people thought of me. That causes her to turn her back on the crowd to where it doesn't necessarily involve an injury or a beatdown. It's Charlotte's offended because she's not getting the respect that a queen deserves. You know what I mean? Like I said, I could see them, I really do see them going with no contest. But if they do go with Becky Lynch winning, I'm really expecting them to do something like that on Tuesday.
But to that idea of her being angry at the crowd and yelling and being disrespectful to the crowd, it actually is interesting to do it because it's using the smart mentality against them, where it's like we're cheering the heel, quote unquote. So it's like, all right then. So since you're going to cheer her, I'll be heel. I'm just going to throw it right back in your face instead of that being the effect.
Here's the only reason that I'm concerned about that is what was the original way that Becky tried to become a heel?
The exact same way.
The exact same way. She tried to say that the crowd was against her. So
I don't know if I see them dipping back into that
exactly.
well right away.
And if it didn't work for Becky, it's either not going to work for Charlotte or it's going to work for Charlotte big time. Mm-hmm. There's not going to be a middle ground on it.
To your point, though, I could see that being a reason why they would do it again. Because in their mind, they're saying, okay, we're going to use the same structure, but we do it with Charlotte.
You know what that's called, right? Lazy booking. It's called lazy booking.
Welcome to the WWE.
Yeah. That's like how many times do you want to go to the well with Sasha and Becky?
Guys.
Sasha and Bailey, I should say.
Listen, you know the writers are too dumb to chew. So, I mean, we just got to...
see, this is SmackDown, though, and I disagree with that. I actually think the SmackDown writers are much more in tune with dotting the I's and crossing the T's than the Raw writers.
And it's not just that. It's the fact that it's a 2-hour program, so every segment needs to count and needs to matter.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of the reason why the writing is much better on there. I'm with Mike. I think they go the Bret Hart, Stone Cold route. And I don't know that they go a schmaz. I mean, I could see it. I could see it going where essentially Becky never quits and ends up passing out. I don't know if it's a no DQ or not.
You think
If
they don't go no DQ, maybe Charlotte just beats on her to the point where she gets disqualified?
Yeah.
Which then, then gives Becky the right to ask for a rematch at Evolution. In a no disqualification
Something along
match.
those lines. Or let's not forget either. When you had Dolph Ziggler and Alberto Del Rio, they managed to do the double switch with those two guys, and all it was Del Rio just basically punting him in the head over and over to the point where the crowd had basically turned as it was going because of the beating that Ziggler was taking.
Todd Womack said, "What's good, fellas? It's time for a women's tag team championship."
Agreed.
What's up, Todd?
What's up, Todd? Idea, by the way, for the proposed Evolution.
Idea.
What if?
What if?
Yes.
Let me ask you this.
Let me ask you this. I propose that if Charlotte and Becky do, in fact, face off at Evolution, which we all, imagine they will, I think it would be great, and I could actually see it making sense if they do a last woman standing.
I'd be fine with that. I feel like this should have been a Hell in a Cell match. It bothers me that I like this card overall. It bothers me, although I don't know why Jeff Hardy and Randy Orton need to be in a Hell in a Cell.
We were afraid of this.
But it really bothers me that this is not in a Hell in a Cell.
Remember when I asked you guys a few weeks ago about that TNA pay-per-view back in the day where every match was in the six sides of steel?
Yep.
Lockdown.
Maybe they should have just done the same thing here. Every match inside the Hell in the Cell.
I mean, at this point, if you're putting that in a goddamn cell, you may as well.
Yeah, exactly.
But a couple of years ago, you pulled off Sasha and Charlotte and made it a main event for this pay-per-view and showed that it can be done.
Mm-hmm.
You have such heat and such feud or such futility in this feud right now that people are really buying into. It's one of the best programs they have going right now. Why not capitalize it? I hate these gimmicky pay-per-views because they have potential, but they never book it right. It's always like, again, why is Randy Orton and Jeff Hardy in the cell?
Matty, real quick, how many matches are actually in the cell?
Well, I think obviously Jeff and Orton, AJ and Samoa Joe. I believe that one's not. It doesn't say it is. And then Universal Championship is.
I thought AJ and Joe was in the cell.
It doesn't say, but I'm gonna assume it is because it isn't.
No.
It really isn't. Wow. All right.
So it's just Roman and Braun.
It's just Roman and Braun and Jeff and Orton.
Because
it doesn't even say that for Ronda and Alexa.
What is the point?
Exactly.
And no tag team titles are in one either.
Crow, Matty, remember the show right after SummerSlam, how we were praising the whole approach to the end of Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, because it was a perfect way to say, this feud can't do anything but stay inside of a cell. You did what we were afraid of. You put old Jeff Hardy, I love you, Jeff, but you don't need to be in Hell in a Cell with slow freaking Randy Orton.
Jeff Hardy's another conversation. His promos are killing me right now.
If they wanted to have one match from each brand in the cell, it should have been the title match for both.
Yep.
I can't read Sean Spellman's comment, by the way.
Okay, here.
But Frank did say, by the way, sorry to bother you at work. Greg Malakman says, "What's up, boys? SmackDown Women's Champ, straight ginger fire." I'll let you read Spellman's in a minute. All right, yeah. Read his first long one, the Strowman wins one.
Let me see here. Pull up to that one.
What's up, Sean? By the way,
Strowman wins, Alexa Bliss wins, Ziggler, McIntyre wins, Samoa Joe wins, and Kevin Owens gets back by Paul fucking Heyman.
that would be pretty sweet.
You stole my line.
Sean Spellman says, and Miz wins. And he says, get a clue then. ESPN backs it now. We've been boogie pickers for decades. I don't know where that comment followed up. I apologize. I missed that part. Michael Jenkinson says, Jeff and Randy in a cell is dumb. Lethal lockdown. We were talking about that. Spellman asked a question.
He says, do you guys realize that ever since WWE Network offered $9.99, there has been maybe 3 pay-per-views that have been A material?
I don't know that I'd go that far. I think very clearly there's times in the year, mainly from WrestleMania to SummerSlam, that it gets very, very lackluster. Minus Money in the Bank. But it gets very lackluster.
Backlash.
At certain point.
No, we don't talk about it.
What was the one? I didn't even remember the name of it, and I went to it. The one with Jinder Mahal and the Punjabi.
Battleground.
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 Yeah.
Jesus, God, that might be the worst. That might have been worse than December to Dismember.
I don't think it has anything to do with $9.99, simply because as soon as they started going to monthly pay-per-views, or with the brand split, sometimes more than one per month, I think that they've been average at best, most of them. I think they watered down their own product long before $9.99 came into play.
Two things I think happened there. One, they don't have any competition, so they don't have anyone breathing down their neck saying, hey, we actually got to step up and put out good material. In other words, we're probably going to lose fans. And 2, you get so many wrestlers in there. There's so many mouths to feed, and you don't have enough time. You only have so much time to give everybody a fair opportunity. That's why a lot of guys in NXT, they stay in NXT for as long as they do, because they're like, well, they're doing a hot program in NXT. We bring them up now, that kills that program, and then they come up here and we got nothing for them because we really don't have somebody to wrestle them right now.
The idea that they're going to lose fans is false, though.
Well,
Because for every
nowadays.
smart that they lose, they're going to gain 3 or 4 casual fans. They will never lose fans. They will always be the top dog. I don't care what anybody says. And listen, All In, and we're going to touch on All In later. All In was fantastic. We knew it was going to be good. It actually exceeded my expectations, including the production value of it. I thought it was very, very good. That being said, the WWE is still a whole different product and entity. They don't market themselves as the same thing as what a New Japan Pro Wrestling is, or what a Ring of Honor is, or any of those other companies. They are a sports entertainment entity. The others market themselves as pro wrestling.
Well,
And that's why it is a whole different ballgame. That's why they can appeal to the casual fan more than what the independent product or some of these other pro wrestling companies out there do.
Well, what I mean by competition is I mean like an actual equal company
Sure.
in this country that hasn't been around since WCW.
But WCW was a sports entertainment entity. Eric Bischoff pushed for it to be that way. And I've been a broken record, and I'll say it again. We talk about watering the product down. Who's the guy that did that? Eric Bischoff. We look at the NXT takeovers, and they're once every three months or so, give or take a month, right? They're fantastic because the feuds have a chance to breathe. There's not overexposure on the one-time-a-week program. And it builds anticipation to finally see these things climax, as opposed to we're seeing, Dean Ambrose and Miz for 5 straight pay-per-views or whatever it is. At that point, you hit it on the head. They've watered it down. And when you see the same thing, and then they're throwing the same guys in on tag matches, before it was they would wait a couple weeks to even have the guys make contact.
Right.
And then maybe you'd have that little interaction, someone interferes or someone jumps someone from behind just to tease the physicality of it, but not give away too much, because the pay-per-view is where you're really going to see it.
Right.
Now you see it every week on Monday night. Now you're going to see it on the Mixed Match Challenge. You're going to see it here. You're going to see it there. It's overexposed.
Well, one of the things that we talked about, God, it had to be like the 2nd or 3rd episode of Lazy Booking on A2D, was it used to be that TV set up the pay-per-views.
Yeah.
Now it's the other way around. The pay-per-views set up TV.
Absolutely. How many times did we talk about it? I think we talked about it with AJ and Nakamura. We'll see it. Obviously, clearly, that's a blow off at a pay-per-view, because that's going to continue to build the thing on Monday Night Raw. And then they get there, and then it built eventually to Nakamura's heel turn. But that didn't end the program, because they had to now use that to build the content for the feud on Raw or SmackDown.
Right.
It's a different product now. It sucks in a lot of ways, but if you take it for what it is, I mean, it's not going to be different. That's why if you're interested in watching something different, you should understand it's going to be different. But go and watch New Japan, go and watch Ring of Honor, and special events like All In or the Madison Square Garden event that's coming up, because it does give you something different to look at, and maybe it'll make you appreciate what you have more, or it'll grow your interest or curiosity in other stuff that's out there. Plus, you learn about the guys, because WWE eventually signs them all anyway, because at least you'll have a heads up on who some of these guys are.
All right, then. So,
Read John Malmus's comment.
all right. So John Malmus says, unfortunately, Bliss won't win. Becky Lynch wins. Roman wins. Seth and Dean win. Joe wins. And Randy Orton.
Now they're talking that he might come out as Brother Nero now, too.
As long as it's not Willow.
Brian Itzard says, Mike, dead on. That's what happens when pay-per-view's $9.99. We're back in the in-your-house model. That's a fair point. I agree with that. By the way, did I send you the wedding invitation? So my friend went to a wedding, and she shared what the invitation looked like, and it was basically like a card for in your house, but it said in your vows. Oh, man, it was so good.
That's awesome.
Here goes the king and queen. You guys have a good night.
Run through.
But it was one of the coolest things I've ever seen, by the way. In Your Vows. Oh, it was great. Anyway.
Todd
I agree with that.
Womack just chimed in and said, Vince needs to leave wrestling and focus on the XFL. We don't need Raw to be number one. I had love when SmackDown was as big or sometimes bigger than Raw.
Back in like 2002 and 2003-ish time when Paul Heyman was writing it.
Well, the question was presented to me this week. Do I believe that when the XFL kicks off that Vince will totally send his focus there and maybe Hunter will step up and start producing Raw? No. I think Vince will always have his that. Vince
will hire football
built this.
people to run the XFL before he leaves Raw.
Vince will always have his fingerprints on this product for as long as he's alive. Mm-hmm. And on his deathbed, he'll still have a booking card in his hand.
You think that he has
you just like frazzled me so much I like dropped my phone. You're like, as long as he's alive, and I'm like,
you think that
because you're not wrong.
You think that he has like a binder or something of just ideas and cards already written down that's like in case of my death, this is what I wish to be done for like the next 4 years on Raw.
I mean, he could, but once he's gone, nobody will listen to it.
I don't think that it's maybe I'm just naive, but I don't think all these bad ideas or anything are Vince being out of touch. I think it's other guys who he has in place that he feels a loyalty to, like a Michael Hayes, who clearly doesn't understand the current climate of the universe, to understand how to build properly build new talent and create new creative programs. And I don't know if it was you. Somebody brought up a point recently. I thought it was you about one of the programs, and it was like, ironically enough, and you saw Michael Hayes was the one who was the agent on it.
Right.
And it was something completely shitty.
Yeah.
I forget what it was, but it's like every time you pull it up, when you do see those things of who's the agent working on this,
right.
It's like 60% of the time it's Michael Hayes. And then in comparison to the Road Dogg, who
Right.
produced, I wish I could remember. You might remember what those two programs
well,
were.
and that's the thing is that Michael Hayes is basically the lead producer on Raw, and Road Dogg is the lead producer on SmackDown. Everything that happens on Raw gets run by Vince. Everything that happens on SmackDown gets run by Triple H.
There you go.
So there's your difference.
Big difference.
Oh, huge difference.
Yeah. So, what do we got next? What's our next match?
Next up is the Raw Tag Team titles. It is Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre defending against The Shield, Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins.
I've been on the fence with this one.
I don't think they do double title with with Rollins, which is the only reason that I don't think the Shield wins this match. I think if Rollins was not the Intercontinental Champion, Shield wins this specifically so that they could do the gimmick of Roman is the U.S. Champion and...
Well, the WWE, the Universal Champion.
the Universal Champion, and then the Shield would be the tag, or Ambrose and Rollins would be the tag champions.
Yeah.
But I will say this. If they do win, does it then open the door for Rollins to hold on to the Intercontinental Championship, Roman to drop the Universal Championship to Braun, but then become one half of the tag team champions under the quote-unquote Freebird rule?
It could open the door if they wanted to go that route.
Like if they want to go that direct, if they don't want to take a belt off of Roman, but they need to have Braun successfully cash in.
Actually, it would be interesting if they did do that, because then that could lead to Survivor Series, where it is a team of champions versus, and even if you could even play it up where Rollins gets the belt taken from him because Ziggler or whomever interferes and costs him the match, and he loses the belt that way. So now it's like, oh, wow, the Shield just lost all their titles. got no titles from them, and they're facing all champions at Survivor Series in a 6-man tag or whatever, and it's like the two big factions on Raw meeting each other. One's got the belts, the other one wants the belts.
Go ahead, Ryan. I'm still trying to process.
We're digesting
I'm still
it.
trying to process all of that one.
All of the belts. Okay. Shield.
Yeah, you think?
Okay, so they're going to go the other way with it. All right.
It's all of the belts because this perfectly leads, first off, into a couple things. It then makes it complete that the main storyline is the Shield. The Shield run Raw. It could lead then to to Survivor Series. It's going to be the Authority, quote unquote. It's going to be Corbin, Stephanie, etc., even Triple H, whoever, trying to regain control of Monday Night Raw. And then you know who comes back? Oh, it's Kurt Angle. Because Kurt will say, well, when I was here, you didn't have a Shield problem. The night you got rid of me, the Shield came back. That makes Kurt Angle join Team Shield.
Which we've seen before.
And that's how they're going to bring him back. Oh, wait, this man was actually a member of the Shield. That's Team Shield. Maybe add another one, surprise whoever it could be.
Well, let me draw that out one step further.
Okay.
So let's just say one side of your Survivor Series team is Braun, Ziggler, McIntyre, Corbin, and let's say if you want to go that Authority route, figure Triple H. Okay?
Yep.
So then your other side is the Shield and Kurt Angle. So they need a fifth, right?
Kevin Owens would make sense there, by the way, too.
He would.
The heat with Angle, and now that Corbin's given him free reign.
And most people would assume it's just going to be Bobby Lashley because would be the biggest babyface on that side.
And he's feuding with Owens.
And he's feuding with Owens, but you know where I'm going with this. The biggest free agent in professional wrestling, John Cena. See Cena come out in like black jorts and a black Cena shirt. Or
well, listen,
actually,
he's got to cover up that extremely disgusting physique he has now.
I'm actually throwing a bit of a swerve.
Oh hell.
Because there's been rumors now for months that he wants to come back. What better way to bring him back than to hide him in a Survivor Series match on a team with his cousin?
Well, there is a lot of rumors that he may have a big spot at WrestleMania 35. So this could be kind of the
entry, the gateway?
Yeah, the kind of lead in to get him there.
Let's just play a little game here, okay?
Let's see if he's like, well, okay.
If we're going there.
Let me tell you something.
Who's that match going to be against? There's no
Roman.
It's Roman.
So, you have him come back Survivor Series. You hear that he wants to be involved in a main event storyline. This would be a main event storyline for that pay-per-view. To your point, Mike, it's a way to get the quote-unquote ring rust and kind of hide it because it's a multi-man tag match.
Right.
Makes sense with the whole family relationship.
Makes sense with him and Triple H.
Plant seeds.
Yep.
And then it's like, oh, wait. Next pay-per-view. Oh, wait. You're here.
Well, realistically, though, you could do a 3-shot deal with that.
Yeah.
You could go, he shows up as part of that team at Survivor Series. He then eliminates Roman from the Royal Rumble, which then sets up their match at WrestleMania. Bing, bang, boom, 3 shots and done.
Yep.
And then he's back to shooting ballers again.
Where's Rumble this year?
That's a great question.
I don't know.
Is that the one that's in Phoenix?
I think that's the one that's in Phoenix.
I believe so.
Well, when it's all said and done.
Stadium show.
Oh.
University of Phoenix Stadium?
Dwayne, stadium show. He gets big spots in stadium shows.
When it's all said and done, though, all the belts. All the belts.
Now, is this what you want to see or what you just think is going to happen?
See,
yes.
The reason why I say well, here's the weird part, actually. The reason why I say the opposite, where it actually winds up being Braun, Ziggler, and Dolph, is you can set up the next pay-per-view that way, where it's like, okay, now the Shield's going to try and get their belts back, or they're trying to get the belts back. And you could do the whole authority thing, and you can do Kurt Angle in there and everything like that. But it does create that kind of, it is a real faction war going on. You got the pro Kurt Angle side with the Shield. You got the pro authority side with Braun Strowman and the rest of them. And they clash, and you can have it happen at Survivor Series. You could have it happen in December. If you want to have it happen at the Rumble, you can have it happen at the Rumble. It's just an idea, just to kind of squeeze a little bit out of it, because you're still waiting for WrestleMania to roll around. So you kind of want a rivalry to prolong to get you there.
Right, but let me ask you this, though. Because, I mean, let's not try to pull the wool over anybody's eyes. This whole thing is about Roman. It's always about Roman. So what's going to be more beneficial for Roman? Being the champion who continues to fight off the beast month after month after month after month, or the guy who, no matter how much the big bad heel champion beats on him, keeps coming back for more? Because to me, it's being the champion and being the fighting champion who takes on all comers, and no matter what Braun throws at him, he just keeps coming out on top. It goes against the whole premise of cashing in the Money in the Bank.
Right.
But do we maybe get a successful cash in at Hell in the Cell Sunday night, and they come right back Monday night, I want a rematch, something weird goes down, and he winds up getting the title right back?
Could be. This is what I'm going to say about this whole thing. I actually think it's been really bad. I don't like the booking of it. Other than effectively turning Braun heel, I haven't been a fan of it. I think the Shield, they were so hell-bent on making sure that the Shield had some kind of a run, and I hate the way it's been booked the entire way. And Dean Ambrose came back as a guy with a chip on his shoulder, different look, seemed like a different attitude, great physique.
And now he's a goofball again.
And it didn't take long, the last 2 weeks, little by little, the goofball comments are out again. Exactly.
Although, tell me you didn't pop when they zoomed in on the sheriff's name tag.
I don't remember what it said, to be honest with you.
It said G. Ambrose.
Oh, did it?
the sheriff was like his uncle or something like that.
Oh, okay. Okay, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, it was phenomenal.
Well,
It was spectacular. I loved it.
I was watching it at work on a phone this big.
That big.
So I must have missed that. But that is phenomenal. But that being said, it's corny, though.
It is.
I would have rather seen a Dean Ambrose heel turn than a Shield reunion at this point. But that being said, you're right. It's all about Roman. Clearly, I'm going to go with Ziggler and McIntyre.
I am going to say Ziggler and McIntyre.
All the belts.
Oh.
So he
Oh.
goes.
He was like lean back, guys. You can't see. He was like, all the belts.
I'm also going Ziggler and McIntyre.
All right.
Todd Womack, hot off the rumor mill, after this Super Show at Survivor Series, DX versus the Brothers of Destruction. Could happen.
They have been rumoring
It's been floated out there more than once.
because
the last time
Yeah.
that Undertaker and Triple H get in a ring again. This is going back to like the.
Was it the last time or the last time?
This is going back to the once in a lifetime again with John Cena and The Rock.
Yeah.
or the end of an era match between Taker and Triple H in the Hell in the Cell.
Well, I mean, they would have to add a third, but what about DX versus the Shield?
Just go get X-Pac or
Yeah.
Road Dogg.
I mean, that's more far-fetched, but
Yeah, I don't think you'll see that. If Michaels comes back, it's very clear it's going to be probably something with Undertaker. It is very interesting with his promo, though, that I did kind of get a feel that there's an outside chance that he might come back, because I've never seen him be the guy that would come back. Like, his promo that he cut and that he talked about where he said, I was always the guy that respected it. I put my words behind that, and I've stuck to that. And when people have said, I think Michaels will come back and face Punk, or I think Michaels will come back and face this person or that person, I've never felt that way until after this promo.
I thought the promo was great, specifically when he said, how many guys in that locker room have said they were retired and came back time after time after time? And how many times have I been offered tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars to come back and work one night, and I turned it down out of respect for you? Like, That was
Phenomenal.
the only problem that I had with that promo was the fact that the Monday after All In, the best thing the WWE could throw out there to counter the All In buzz was to wheel out two 53-year-olds instead of the talent that's currently on their main roster.
Yeah.
That's a fair point. And that was a really bad Raw after that.
That was horrible.
The
And I understand it was a holiday, but it was horrible.
Like, in fairness, Eagles game last week, that was the week to not have a show. It was not very good.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, and like this entire like Undertaker Triple H thing for the Super Show, I've like listen, it's cool, whatever. You know my opinion of whenever I see Undertaker now, it's I hate it, to be honest, because of how good it could have been when they ended it. If they ended it for real after he lost to Roman, you know what I mean? Like, I hate it.
I was there for that, too.
It would have been perfect. So I kind of treated this entire thing as a wash. I'm like I really didn't care. The funny thing is, my biggest takeaway from this entire Triple H Undertaker thing is none of them. It's the whole deal with Shawn Michaels. That's the biggest takeaway.
I agree.
Maybe that's
the reason.
Maybe that was the desired intent, though.
Well,
Maybe. I hope so.
The one thing, too, when they officially, quote-unquote, ended The Undertaker, even though they never said it, it would have been fine if he had just decided not to be, like, he would have been The Undertaker, but he wouldn't have been the Phenom Undertaker. And it'd be like, okay, so the Phenom Undertaker, that's what was retired. You're still going on as the American Badass.
Well, I was saying, we talked about that where it's, what was it was it the
I think it was
the dead man,
WrestleMania.
Was it the dead man that we weren't going to see again, but have him come back as the American Badass, or was it just the man himself was going to be retired? I mean, we've talked about that a couple times.
Yeah, if they had gone with that, then it's like, all right, they did retire it technically.
But let me tell you something, player. No matter what you think, you're still going one-on-one with The Undertaker.
Listen, I'll say this. If in all this, with the Super Show and all, the end game, the build was to get one more match out of Shawn Michaels, and that's what this intent was, that's great booking.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to end up being what it is. But good Lord, if that's what they do, and then this whole promo from here on out, the match at Super Show and everything that supersedes after that, if that's what it builds to, then I will give them all the credit in the world, whoever, and I'm sure it was probably Hunter and Road Dogg who probably
All right,
did it.
but here's my question on that, and I don't disagree with you at all, but wouldn't they be better served for the business if they're going to have Shawn come out of retirement for one more match? Wouldn't it be better served against, I don't know,
AJ Styles.
Roman, the guy that they're trying to get over and over? And I mean, don't get me wrong. The match I want to see is Shawn and AJ, but it doesn't make sense from a business perspective.
I disagree because I don't think Roman gets anything out of beating a Shawn Michaels who's been retired for
I agree.
9 years almost at this point.
Then what does AJ get out of it?
But it's a dream match that people want to see. It's still going to draw a big payday. If you're putting Shawn Michaels versus Roman, you're looking for Roman to get something out of that, whether it's a rub or this, and it's not going to happen with that. There's nothing that he benefits. If you're looking at
Because the people will want to see Shawn kick his ass.
AJ doesn't need the rub from Shawn, but people want to see that match. To me, it's a much bigger draw having those two and building that actual dream match over the Nakamura quote unquote dream match, an actual dream match that people would want to see.
I see what you're saying, Mike, and like
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
But I just don't think it's effective in this point.
you basically want to put up the present and future against obviously one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. Like I get that. I would honestly rather see AJ against Shawn because I think that would be a feud based off of respect. And I'm not saying AJ is like the Shawn Michaels of this generation because I don't think there's comparisons. I think AJ's AJ Styles. I think Shawn. I honestly would rather see Daniel Bryan versus Shawn Michaels than Roman, just because I think not the matchup's better, but I think the ring styles fit better, and I think having a feud where the agenda isn't about getting someone over, it's just about sheer dream match, respect. 2 generations meet one, and 2. I don't think they want to. If they're going to take Shawn Michaels out of retirement, and they've waited so long to do it, to
Remind
where your
me,
point,
I gotta ask you something. Keep going.
to where your point is, and I agree with you. I never even entertained the thought of Shawn coming back because they've waited so long. If they would have done it, they would have done it already long ago. I think they do it for one of two guys. That's AJ or Daniel.
I agree. And with that too, I just how many past versus present guys are you going to throw in front of Roman? Like, it's Shawn Michaels and then Hogan. Are we going to trot Hogan out there next, or Scott Hall and Kevin Nash? Like, they're not on that scale.
You never know.
But you're talking, I mean, it's Michaels and Hogan, two guys who he's going to get nothing out of, regardless. You know what? Rock.
Yes.
Rock is one that he gets something out of. So, to me, I wouldn't shock me. It would be a dream, but it wouldn't shock me because the company has definitely backed AJ big time as well. He is the cornerstone of SmackDown. So, to me,
Well, it's the house that AJ Styles built.
you're right.
You didn't know that?
Absolutely. Bricks. He laid all that foundation down. But it would not shock me if at WrestleMania you do get Roman and Rock, and maybe, just maybe, you get Shawn versus a Daniel Bryan or an AJ Styles.
Well, I'll tell. First off, I completely agree with you, Mike, because and I can actually see them doing that. I would say, first off, Mike, I honestly believe if you put that storyline you brought up with Roman and Shawn, you just switch it with The Rock, I think it's more realistic, and I think it gives everything.
And I hear you. I absolutely hear you. The only reason that I even went in that direction is because, like, we've sat here and said that everything is just about Roman.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't put it past Vince to go,
Well, I agree with you on that.
pal, I need you to find a way to get this kid over. I've tried everything I can. My goddamn son-in-law can't find a way to get him over. I need you to do something for me, pal.
Pal, if you can't do it, I'm going to have to call Sting.
Sting, Hogan, drag them all out.
But what I was going to ask you, and I'll ask all you guys, is that have you guys heard the, I don't know if you want to call it rumor, backstory, whatever, that Shawn has zero interest in doing a program with Daniel Bryan? I mean, that he's been questioned about it multiple times, and he said, guy went to my school. Said, I didn't train him. There is no student versus teacher type of deal. Like, he went to my school, but he was Jose's guy. And, you know, I don't want to do any storyline that involves student versus teacher.
I haven't heard that, but, I mean, and that's fine. They could still work it.
They could still spin it, yeah.
They could still be a dream match.
Real quick, I will just throw out another way they can do this whole Shawn Michaels thing at WrestleMania to where it would make sense. I can honestly say I'll go back into the well, you know, a few years ago, actually more than a few years ago, it feels like almost 10 years ago now. I don't think it's that much, but you have Shawn Michaels come back. You hear, they'll probably do it on social media, Shawn Michaels says one more match. He does a promo on Raw. He stands in the middle of the ring, and he does exactly what Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson did when he returned, and he said, there's a guy around here. He's made a name for himself. Instead of saying John Cena, he says AJ Styles. Says, okay, this guy, people always talk about, hey, what do you think of AJ Styles? Oh, my God, AJ Styles this. Well, AJ, I'll tell you. How would you like to face me at WrestleMania?
Yeah, you could definitely do something like that.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree.
Wouldn't this be crazy, though? This would never happen in a million years. Not now. You ever notice that he never wrestled one person, Shawn Michaels?
He never wrestled one person.
One guy that you could think of during that era that was super huge, late 90s, early 2000s. He didn't wrestle this one guy. Never had a match with him.
Kurt Angle?
No.
He did it at WrestleMania 21 with Angle.
Oh,
One of the greatest WrestleMania matches of all time, by the way.
The Rock. He never wrestled
Well,
him.
I guess they cross paths. So essentially when Michaels came back is when Rock started dipping out. So
It'd be really crazy if they actually decided to get real squirrely and say, hey, why don't we try something like that? It would be unbelievable.
Well,
if they
hold
did
that
something
thought
like
because
that.
I like that thought. We're going to go to break. Last couple comments. Andy Ritter. He just says, needs to be Daniel. Rock Roman at Mania is the rumor. which we were talked about actually earlier. We're going to jump on the other side. We're going to go exclusive to YouTube. So if you were on with us on Periscope, with us on Instagram and Facebook, thank you guys for joining us. Click the link at the top. Join us for the second half as we continue to run down the Hell in a Cell program coming up. We're going to talk about the legacy of it. We're going to try to get some other conversation in on All In and whatever else we can fit in. And, of course, this day in wrestling history. Maddie's going to give us a read.
All right, then. So this first part of Lazy Booking was brought to you by Skinzano Sports Center, located at 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. And give them a call at 856-889-3434 or visit them on the web at www.skinzanosports.com.
I feel like I'm in New Edition right now. Guys, thanks for joining us again. Join us second half, other side, YouTube. We'll talk to you in a few.
Tom and Mike, AM in the PM, is brought to you by Gibson Mayer, LLC, certified public accountants. Gibson Mayer, located in Yardley, PA, is a leading accounting and business consulting firm with a proven track record of handling critical issues with expertise across many different industries, including construction, distribution, hospitality, manufacturing, real estate, service trades, merchandising, professional services, and professional athletes. Give them a call at 215-369-3300. That's 215-369-3300. Your initial consultation is always free, and if you tell them that Mike from Tom and Mike AM in the PM sent you, you'll receive 15% off all income tax services completed by February 15th. That's Gibson Mayer, LLC, certified public accountants. 215-369-3300. Or visit them on the web at www.gibsonmayer.com. That's www.gibsonmayer.com.
Everybody, I'm Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, and everybody's got a price for lazy booking. Hey, this is your Olympic hero, Kurt Angle, and you're listening to the Lazy Booking Go. It's true. It's damn true. Ho! Hey, folks, I'm WWE Hall of Famer Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and if you want to know what's going on in wrestling, check out Lazy Bookings. Ho!
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Lazy Booking right here on A2DRadio.com. Brought to you by Sports Outlet for all your sporting needs, located at 703 Black Horse Pike in Glendora, New Jersey. You can call 856-939-2030. Email them at sportsoutletnj@comcast.net, or visit them on the web at www.sportsoutletinc.com.
Welcome back, guys. Lazy Booking, taking you to 9:45. Don't forget Hockey Happy Hour at the top of the hour, 10 o'clock. Who we got tonight? We got
Wait,
Daly and Mikey tonight?
Oh, yeah.
Triple H is coming up at 10 o'clock?
Oh, yeah.
Triple H.
Triple H.
Stick
Triple
with
H.
us, guys.
Yeah.
Yep, and we got all three H's. Me, Brian, and Mikey are all here today.
Very nice. So definitely check them out. Hockey season's getting ready to kick off, guys. So these are the guys to listen to and get you ready to go.
I'm fiending. I
Michael
cannot wait.
Michael Klinkoff, the most handsome man on A2D radio.
Bastard cuts his hair and he makes us all, puts
He-
us all to shame.
He does.
Damn him. And his
He went
beautiful-
from being like Headbanger Mosh to the model Rick Martel.
So I guess for Christmas we get him a bottle of arrogance, and then he'll just complete the whole thing.
Arrogance. One of my favorite still is, I think it was WrestleMania 8 when Martel faced Tatanka and he said, I heard that Tatanka was having a hard time getting into the building. I heard he was too busy outside scalping tickets. One of the best model Rick Martel promos.
I love like the giant supersized ionizer too. That was like something right out of the cartoons. It's phenomenal.
It's like a Looney Tunes prop.
Yeah.
So good. So we ended off. What match were we? I don't even know. We didn't get super
we
far.
are on to the SmackDown.
We
Tag
went off the
Team
cuff quite a bit,
titles.
but it was so good.
Oh yeah.
All right, so SmackDown Tag Team titles. The New Day
Okay.
New Day.
versus Aiden English and Rusev.
Rusev Day.
I'd love to see Aiden English and Rusev win, but I feel like this could kind of reignite the dissension between them and maybe the English heel turn that seems to be inevitable at some point. So I'm going to go New Day.
See, and it's interesting that you say that because I'm still waiting for the Big E. You guys are doing just fine as a tag team. I'm going off on my own deal. I don't think it's going to happen at a pay-per-view like this.
No.
But it just becomes – it's one of those things where it's, you know, do they just go with a clean finish on this and don't really further either storyline for the time being?
They could.
Yeah, because we're going into Survivor Series, not a SummerSlam, so they'll probably wind up in a tag team match.
Well,
maybe not
there's
even for the
another.
belts.
Well, my thing is
There is another pay-per-view in October, though, correct? Because I know Evolution's in October, but there's another
Is it
main
the-
roster pay-per-view
I believe there
between Hell in a Cell and Survivor Series. series.
I'm sure there is. I just can't think of what it is off the top of my head.
It's not tables, ladders, and chairs.
No.
They did away with that, didn't they?
That's why I said that. I'm like, it's not TLC, not tables, ladders, and chairs. But I'm pretty sure there is something.
If we were still in 2007, it would be Armageddon, but I don't think that's really a thing
yeah.
anymore.
I'm pulling
I
up.
feel like I know the schedule from back when
Much easier
compared
than
to now.
There is not a pay-per-view in between.
Maybe
So
the Super
September
Shows.
16th is Hell in a Cell.
Mm-hmm.
October 6th is the Super Showdown.
Oh, so that's-
October 28th, Evolution is going to be what they consider the pay-per-view.
Well, hold on a second. What was the date of the Super Showdown?
6.
October 6th.
Okay, and then what's the date of the Saudi Arabia show?
That's where you've got
There's no Saudi Arabia show.
Okay, because
It's
supposedly
the Melbourne, Australia show at the Super
right
Showdown.
is the Super Showdown, and then supposedly there is another trip to Saudi Arabia sometime in early November prior to Survivor Series.
As of now, that has not been announced. So the rundown for the rest of the year is October 6th, obviously the Super Showdown. And this is on CBS. CBS has the whole pay-per-view listing. October 28th, Evolution. November 17th, NXT TakeOver War Games 2. November 18th, Survivor Series. December 16th is TLC.
Oh, so they kept TLC. But Ryan is right, though. You can remember the lineup from, like, back in 2000 so much easier than you can remember the lineup for today.
And this was updated on August 20th, so fairly recently.
So I guess they're going to be doing the whole Super Show is kind of like a filler. So they'll be doing that. They'll be killing time. Then I guess they're going to have a lot of women matches, which is fine. They're going to have that being the main event of Raw and SmackDown to kind of build for Evolution, and they're going to be doing a long build.
You still have those dates up?
Yeah,
What was the date of the Super Show?
October 6th.
Okay, interesting. Because they have WWE Live in Jeddah October.
Yeah, but I don't think that's a televised
I
event.
think 8th, 9th, and 10th or something like that.
Yeah, so they could be going right from Australia over to there. I mean, it's a short plane ride.
Could be, yeah.
But I don't think that's not like and none of that's a televised event. But I would imagine the Super Show is more of a special, and that Evolution they're considering the pay-per-view for October at this point.
Is there going to be an NXT takeover at any point?
Takeover is November 17th, War Games.
Okay, so they're waiting for
That'll be the
Survivor
final
Series.
one of the So really,
Okay.
they only do the takeovers now for the big four.
So they're going long build then, kind of like they do pre-WrestleMania.
Well, Super Showdown is expected to have some things go down there that are going to create some opportunities for the upcoming pay-per-views. We're just going to say that. I don't want to. For people who don't want anything spoiled or anything like that, there's a lot of heavy rumors of some things that may go down to help build Evolution and beyond that. So that's more of, I guess I'm looking at it similar to the Saudi Arabia show that they had previously.
Can we assume, for lack of a better term, that HBK again is thrust into the special guest referee role with Triple H and The Undertaker?
I hope not.
I'll assume because I could see that happening.
Because that's how it ended the last time.
I'm gonna say no, but you never know.
No, but you never know. Okay, I'll buy into that.
If they feel like they need to go there, they will. I don't know that they need to go there now. They're doing enough of implementing the legends with the videos that they're dropping to build an interest in it and incorporating, like we always talk about, social media into building the program. So I hope not. I think that's similar to what we're going to talk about with Hell in a Cell coming up. I think that's overdoing it. It's overkill.
I think if they do that and they have him as a special guest referee, I think it's then becomes an absolute lock that he wrestles another match.
I
don't think so.
Either that or, have a surprise where he just basically shows up, super kicks the Undertaker,
I could
sweet
see-
chin
I
music,
could see
and
that
getting
more.
the pinfall for Triple H.
See, I could see something similar to that more. I think if he ends up being a special referee, that confirms to me he's not stepping back in the ring.
Oh, see, I disagree because I don't see enough. Like we said, they don't need to have him as a special guest referee. So if they're going to have him do it, they're going to do it for a reason
Right,
that
there's
is
a
other
reason.
than the fact of just adding a layer to the match that doesn't need to happen.
Well, they did it for WrestleMania, and he
Well,
didn't
that was
step back
also-
in the ring after.
That was also 7 years ago in a much different era, and that was a WrestleMania, not a Super Show in Australia.
But that was the end of an era, and this is the last time ever. So there's
in
parallels.
Australia,
There's
the
so
network
many
Super
air.
Show.
There's so many air quotes. Maddie, you might as well just keep going with that,
Keep
brother.
on going with this.
Once in a
I
lifetime.
don't listen. I'll go and say it again. I don't buy into end of an era anything because they brought the Undertaker back. I don't buy into it. That's
I'm with you.
marketing. I don't buy it. It's BS. I'm still upset.
I'm
so upset.
We saw once in a lifetime twice. So.
And we saw the Undertaker retire like 16 times. We're probably going to see another 10.
20, but who's counting?
Yeah, whatever. Give or take.
Did we
So
pick?
upset.
Did we all pick winners for the tag match? By the
I
way,
don't know.
I'll go with the New
we
Day.
went
I don't-
totally
I didn't.
off the
I
cuff
don't-
on that.
I don't think I did.
New Day.
New Day.
You know what? I'm gonna say. Call me crazy, but if they're gonna do a Big E change, maybe you put the belts on Rusev in English.
Hopefully.
Set up a possible moment where Big E breaks away from them at Survivor Series, if you do want to do it, or later on.
I don't know that they'll break them up. There's so much merchandising behind these guys, but I do believe that Big E will be more focused on the singles run, and Kofi and Xavier will continue to be the tag team of the group.
Right.
They can easily do what they're doing with the Shield. I mean, Roman's
Yeah.
not focusing on tag team.
Yeah, and I do think more and more, if you've noticed with the tag team matches they've had, that it's been more Kofi and Xavier than it has been
Yeah,
Big E.
right.
Yeah.
I don't think that's by accident.
No.
That's because Big E doesn't have a nickname.
He already has one built in. Damn it!
Big.
Still great. Still great.
We're referencing it 3 weeks later. It had to be great.
Yeah.
I'm going with New Day.
New Day. The only thing I'll say, just to keep in mind, was that I believe that the Bludgeon Brothers would have retained had Eric Rowan not gotten hurt. So I felt like at that point they had to put the title on the New Day. So if they decided to do a quick turnaround and put the title on somebody else, it wouldn't shock me if they put it on Rusev Day.
Can I do an offshoot on that one real
Sure,
quick?
sure.
If you get a chance, YouTube search Ricochet run in
Oh, Christ.
NXT Buffalo, New York within the last 10 days or so. Ricochet defends the NXT North American title against Luke Harper in a surprise challenger type of match. The match was way better than it had any right to be.
Was it?
I highly recommend checking it out.
Harper's great run-in by Greg, by the way. Not letting you get by. Blowing kisses, Velveteen. The Velveteen Greg over here. But that doesn't surprise me. He's a great worker.
Oh, yeah.
If you go back and watch his stuff in CZW and previous, I mean, the guy can move, and he's in the best shape of his career at this point. I believe it. And Ricochet could have a match with anybody. He could have a match with a broom.
Yeah.
Like
He's like this generation's Ric Flair.
yeah.
Put him in there with a broomstick, and he'll carry it to 5 stars.
There it is.
So then-
Absolutely.
So then why didn't he do the blow-up doll in Japan like you usually do out there?
Because Kenny already did that.
Ah.
Yeah, Mark.
All right. Raw Women's Championship.
All right, so Ronda Rousey and Alexa Bliss.
I'm not even going to get deep into this one. Is it Ronda Rousey?
1, 2, 3.
Ronda
Rousey.
No.
You think?
Oh, good Jesus. Here we go.
I'm going massive screw job on Ronda, and Bliss gets the title back.
Oh, Mike.
Only
no.
reason I hold off on that is like, weren't they rumoring that it'd be Nikki Bella versus Ronda at Evolution? That's the only
rumor.
reason why I'm thinking Ronda's
Well,
winning.
right, but why would you put Nikki Bella in a title picture? You don't, but maybe Alexa has, I don't know, Mickey James and Foxy at ringside, so who comes out to back Ronda but Natalya and Nikki Bella, and maybe Nikki Bella accidentally costs Ronda the title, and that sets up their little mini feud.
Nikki Bella turns on Ronda at the Super Show, setting up the match at Evolution. Because if you're talking about Evolution, and why would you put Nikki Bella in the title picture? At that point, then your title match, because all titles are defended, would be Alexa Bliss and Trish Stratus. Why would you put Trish Stratus in the title picture?
Because she's a Hall of Famer, and
Nikki Bella will be a Hall of Famer,
right,
whether we agree or not.
Right, but wasn't
I say that with
Hey, I mean,
right, but
listen,
doesn't
man,
Trish
sleeping
Stratus,
with John Cena does some amazing things.
Right,
but
but
anyway,
didn't Trish Stratus have the record for the number of actual Divas Championship runs?
Yeah, but someone who's been out and all of a sudden just shows up and gets the title. Nikki Bella has more of a right to be there, and she's been on the programming. And there's not an accident that they're having Nikki Bella very often interacting with Ronda Rousey as soon as she's back.
Oh, no, you're absolutely right.
We're all missing something here, okay? There's no way that they would build up this whole Ronda Rousey thing, give her the title, and then take it right off of her.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
After creating so much media buzz. I understand what you're saying, and it would be a massive swerve. And to be honest, I would rather see Alexa Bliss versus Trish Stratus for a title than Nikki Bella versus Ronda. In all honesty, just as a consumer, I just think they view – well, no, I know because you see how they treat her, how they view her, how they market her. She is such a star. I could argue that she's the biggest star at the moment, the way they're doing all of this stuff. There's no way they're going to have Ronda win 1 month and then just take it right off of her before the Evolution show.
Well,
But hold on a second. I'm going to disagree with you, and here's why. Because I tell you guys this all the time. It is what does WWE always do? They knock somebody all the way down to build them back up. And Ronda being on top right now is not through WWE build. It's through her name and her fame. She comes in and debuts at Royal Rumble, okay? Her first match isn't until WrestleMania, which was just 5 months ago, okay? So she debuts at WrestleMania, then she gets into a program where they take her off of TV for 30 days. So then everything is just her and social media and behind the scenes and all this stuff. She winds up winning the title at SummerSlam, which is the summer version of WrestleMania. So she wins it on a major show that has the exposure. Great. All this mainstream media sees Ronda Rousey win a title at SummerSlam in New York City. How much mainstream media do we think is going to be paying attention to Hell in a Cell in San Antonio, Texas during the middle of football season? They could very easily take it off of her and have her become the aggressive chasing champion who went to the top and got screwed out of her title and is now back to the chase.
Here's the difference. Ronda Rousey, is on a limited time basis for them to do whatever they're going to do with her. There's not a long-term plan for Ronda because Ronda is only there for a limited time. That's one.
Right.
Two, they brought her in because of the machine that built her, because the ESPNs and Fox Sports and CBS's and everybody else is paying attention to what Ronda Rousey is doing. This is an exception to the rule of they have to build their own person up. We've talked about it before, man. She is one of those people. She's bigger than the company in quite a few ways,
yes.
To where you by sacrificing that for a whatever, she doesn't need to chase the title. She can chase the title down the road after WrestleMania, and she could drop it to Asuka or whoever. Alexa Bliss is not going to be the person that anybody's going to sit and believe is going to beat Ronda Rousey, even with the schmaz or whatever. When they take that title off of her, it's going to be in a big program, on a big pay-per-view, to where there's a lot of eyes on it. Because when she drops that title, that's going to be a huge rub to whoever takes it off of her.
A couple different things. Number one, the only person that's going to take the belt off of her is Charlotte Flair. That's number one. The secondary thing, sure, it could be Asuka, but the way things are with Asuka right now, I don't even know if Asuka's going to beat a Carmella match, to be completely honest with you. 'Cause she couldn't do it the first 2 times.
Asuka is feeling the glow right now.
Go? I go?
Yeah.
No. Glow.
Secondary point, Ronda was already the chaser, not for a title, but she was chasing the whole machine of being a WWE superstar. They heavily put that into the storyline that she had to gain respect not only from Stephanie McMahon, Triple H, but the women's wrestlers around her. She was the chaser. I understand, like, trust me, WWE does that a lot with, like you said, you break them down to build them back up. To your point, Chrome, she's the anomaly. Because she was not somebody that became a star through their system. It's the exact opposite. And you're not going to do that to someone this
a global
early.
Star.
Yes, you're not, and you're not going to do that to somebody, no matter if it's a global star or it's Bailey or if it's Trish Stratus or whoever. You're not going to do that to someone this early in their run. It seems like she's been around for almost a year, but she's only wrestled a handful of matches. I think having her be a chaser when she first comes in, earn the respect. Then she wins the title. It's the biggest story. It's all about the journey of being a winner, and then taking her off again. With all due respect, but to Alexa Bliss, who she made look like a little girl a month ago, to be completely honest, and it was horrible for Alexa Bliss. But I mean, Alexa Bliss looked pathetic. They made Alexa Bliss look pathetic. So they're going to then go the next month and be like, oh, schmaz or whatever, clean, doesn't matter. Alexa Bliss is going to pin Ronda Rousey. No, I disagree.
Up the bet to 3 beers.
Oh, dear. Mike, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
I'll take that bet.
I advise severely against this.
I'll take that
Up
bet.
the bet to 3 beers. Bliss wins.
Well, Chrome, at least you're winning one. You're winning one of them.
Well, and here's the other little wrinkle that I could actually see happening here. Whatever happened to Alexa's long lost best friend?
Oh, damn it.
You know, the big Samoan that's related to the other 2 Samoans?
Oh, Nia, yeah.
Just saying.
How injured was she?
Yeah, she was hurt.
Yeah, but I mean, is she injured enough that she can't cost Ronda a championship?
I don't know.
I'll be screaming at the television screen if that happens.
I'll be getting
Too much shenanigans.
Brodo sliding into the DMs at 10:30 on Sunday
Yeah,
night.
I'll be like, Mike, what did you do? What did you do?
Don't you put this on me, Ricky Bobby?
Why'd you have to do this?
This guy over here is probably texting his booking over, or DMing his booking over to Michael Hayes as we speak right now. But no, like
You're Doc Hendricks?
Doc Harris.
We
But
got a kayfabe.
here's the other thing too with that, right? The other thing with that too is like we know how great Trish Stratus was over her career, but she has been a long time she's been in the ring, and let's be honest, Alexa is not the smoothest in the ring.
No, she's not.
So when you're talking about a quality of match, a match with Ronda can be different because Ronda is more of a brawling, toss him around kind of person. I worry for Nikki Bella's safety, by the way, in this match with that neck. But that being said, I feel
couple
like
of judo throws that land the wrong way.
Nikki has had her moments of sloppiness since she's been back, but she's also shaken off the ring rust, and she's doing the work to shake that off. I have to give her a lot of credit. Her run, particularly probably the last year and a half to 2 years, unlike Brie, she got much better in the ring.
Right.
And I think I'm looking at match quality and what you want to put out there and present out there as your championship match. I have a lot more confidence in a Ronda Rousey Nikki Bella match than I would of the quality that's going to come out of Trish Stratus and Alexa Bliss. And
That's fair.
I
That's
think
totally
with the
fair.
rust that Trish is going to have, and I'm sure she's working off on that, but she's going to have to do a lot of work, I think, with Alexa to make her to get it up to that championship level type. That's just my opinion on it, but
All
but
right.
hey, I'll take that bet though.
All right.
Deal.
Hold
Shake
on.
with the cord in there.
Get the cord out of there.
All right.
We'll reveal what the original 2 beers in the bet were when we get there.
So Ronda Rousey on this side, Mike the lone Alexa Bliss support.
That ass.
We went a lot longer in that match than I think we all expected.
I was just like, hey, let's just say it and move on.
I did the old 1, 2, 3.
All right. So
What? Sean Waltman's here?
So Scott Hall. And on to the Hell in the Cell match that no one cares about. Jeff Hardy versus Randy Orton. I think Randy Orton's a safe bet on this one.
I hate this. I hated this feud build-up. I liked it at first. I thought that Orton coming back and turning heel, whatever. I know he's done it a million times, but it felt right for him at this point. But I have no interest in this at this point. Jeff Hardy's been awful with his promos. I'm over the painted, stupid gimmick at this point. If we get Willow, I'm done with Jeff Hardy. If we get Willow.
The only way that this match is watchable at all
It's going to be a spot fest.
is if we get Broken Matt at some point.
I mean, that would be interesting. They're talking Brother Nero could be a possibility in this match.
This could be the match though where I go take a shower and start getting my shit ready for Monday.
Yeah,
I would say if
I'm going to go Randy Orton on this.
Because
I'm there as well.
what I think, if talking about Brother Nero, since Jeff's supposed to be taking time off, you could make this match where he just gets the shit kicked out of him by Randy Orton to the point where Jeff's just broken. And then many months later, whenever he feels like his leave is good and he's back to being what he needs to be, that's when you can bring in Brother Nero.
Yeah, I mean, really, you can have it if you want to write him off. Just have the big spot where he goes off the cell and he misses, and he goes through the announce table, and guess what? He's off of TV for a while, and comes back as broken Jeff Hardy. Brother Nero.
I have a match prediction and I have a spot prediction as well.
All right, then. Go right ahead.
So, my match prediction is Randy Orton. My spot prediction, let's see if I can go 2 for 2 with this. It's going to be Jeff Hardy jumping off the side of the cage, not off the top. If they do it off the top, my God. Off the top of the cage, Randy's going to be laying on the announce table. He's going to get up and he's going to counter it with an RKO.
Man.
I mean, he did it on an Evan Bourne shooting star press.
I'll tell you what, if they can make that happen, I'll pop for that. That would get my interest.
I seriously think there's a very good shot that happens.
All right, then.
If they can pull that off, because the timing is going to have to be impeccable on that. If they can pull that off, man, I'll be into that.
Like, it won't be a swanton, but it'll be like a super fly, just a splash.
My interest in watching this match is to see what the big spot's going to be, because to me, that's going to be the entertainment that's going to come out of this.
I don't know. I see Jeff kind of doing a weird spot where he's hanging on top of the cage, and then he comes down, and that's when Orton gets him with the RKO.
I can see that, too.
And that's the end of it, because off the side of the cage and going into the announce table, I could see Jeff doing it, but I don't know if WWE is like, because he has problems right now and that's why he's leaving, they might pull that back for a minute and say, no, we're not going to do that.
Wasn't there a spot in an Elimination Chamber match at one point where I don't remember if it was Rey Mysterio or...
I think it was Morrison.
No.
Kofi?
No, it was Kalisto was actually shimmying across the top on the inside and went to do a dive or something in the middle of the ring and got caught with an RKO
Morrison
as he was
did it.
dropping from the...
Morrison did that, yep.
Morrison did it?
Yep.
Was it? Okay.
It was during Elimination Chamber.
Well, okay, so it wasn't Elimination. Okay, that's what it is, because Kalisto did the same thing, but he actually came off of the... I got you. So it was Morrison. Okay.
So I definitely think, because like we all said, a match that, we all agree this match should not be the one in the Hell in the Cell. It should be the main event. It should be AJ and Samoa Joe. But, Jesus, I think if this match fits the build as a match that if it has a huge spot at the end, it's like, oh, that was worth it.
Right.
It's going to be an RKO spot. I think it's going to involve that.
What, you're not a fan of the RKO out of nowhere?
Well, if it's done right, then yes. Not a fan of the match, though.
Oh,
So that's what
yeah.
I'm not a fan of.
Although it'd be funny to say, so why did you put Jeff and Orton in the Hell in the Cell? It's like, well, we needed an excuse for him to be off TV. He's like, him getting the shit kicked out of him and getting his gauge literally pulled at by the ear wasn't enough to convince you to say maybe you should go off TV for a minute or two to recover from injuries.
Do we get an RKO on the roof of the cage?
That was actually my
Could.
first prediction. I was actually going to go with that.
Could.
And hope that they don't fall through.
I think they're going to make sure they don't fall through.
Here's why I don't think they do that. It's because the thing that made me switch it, I think that's not the match that is going to end up on the roof.
Right. Well, that's where I was you literally just took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Was they do have to be careful with these Hell in the Cell matches because you got to leave some meat on the bone for the main event. You can't just go spot fest crazy in every match, or else your main event's going to have no heat.
And especially with Mr. McFoley involved in the mirroring storylines, I think the second one's on the roof.
Makes sense. All right, so we got Randy Orton all across the board and a spot fest to ensue. And on to the WWE title match, AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe.
I always have a tough time picking this one because I feel like
See,
I think
I'm
AJ's going to win, but I want Joe to win so bad. I think it's such a good time to put the belt on Joe.
I'm going AJ, but I don't think this is the blow-off. I think it continues.
Me too.
And the reason that I'm going AJ, and I said this to you guys a couple weeks ago, is they want him, in my opinion, to surpass Punk and Brock as the longest reigning, champion of however many years.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe at that point, we see Joe get a title run.
How far in is AJ, though?
Oh, AJ, let's see. He won the belt last time around Survivor Series, like right the week before Survivor Series.
So we still got a little bit of a stretch to go.
Think about it, though, Chrome. You have Survivor Series. They can kill time because they can put those guys in a multi-man match.
Sure.
And then what's the next one after that? Rumble?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like by Rumble, because like we talk about, there's going to be a long build between Hell in a Cell and Survivor Series. So
But it's not enough days to break the record, though.
Well, what about the
Hold on,
days
I'm
of
gonna-
that
I'm gonna
and then
try to get
Rumble?
you
The amount of days from Hell in a Cell to Royal Rumble, that's what we need to know. Because that's when the final payoff happens, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm going to go AJ with this
Me
match.
too.
I think are we going across the board with AJ? Or are you going
I'm going to
Joe?
say AJ.
Yeah.
If it was in a cell, I would go Joe, but
One thing I'll say, I've loved the build up to this match.
Yeah.
I think that they've both been really good. I think Joe's the star as far as the promos and the build up. AJ's been very good working with it, but I think Joe is a huge star coming out of this.
Now, going into Survivor Series, do you see them having just a regular old WWE title match, or do you actually see them, since it's looking like they might do a Shield versus Authority thing for Raw's side with their belt, do you see them just having a regular old WWE title match at Survivor Series?
Probably. They'll defend the titles. I could see them at Survivor Series doing champion versus champion, too.
It's true. They did do it.
They did it last year.
See, I think they're going to go fully based off of we're going to kill time here. I think they're going to make it. I don't really know how they would do it. I think they're going to do some sort of Team AJ, Team Samoa Joe type thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough, though. It's really tough because, like you said, Samoa Joe is the star in all of this. So, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. This thing should really be in a cell.
Agreed.
Yes. I
Missed
think we can all
opportunity.
take that and agree on that one.
All right. So Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman in the Hell in a Cell for
With
the Universal title.
The special guest referee, Mick Foley.
So, Mike, what's your opinion on Mick Foley? Let's just dive into that because I don't know if we're going to be able to get too much into Hell in a Cell.
The exact answer, by the way, is AJ Styles, November 7th, 2017. So if he goes, so November 7th is a year, 365 days. He needs to get to what, like 513 or something like that?
Something like that.
So he would need to do another 140 days or 4 months. December, January, February, March. Oh, WrestleMania.
Him versus Shawn.
He's not going to face Shawn if he's dropping the title. It's not going to be Shawn.
No, he wouldn't drop it.
Be interesting. See what happens.
Because he's trying to break Punk's record, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well,
Well, no, Brock.
well,
Brock has it now.
Brock
Oh,
broke
Brock's. That's right, because Brock broke that. Yeah.
Punk was the 4-3-4.
Yeah.
So we've talked Braun and Roman a lot. I'm gonna pick Roman to retain in this, and then I want Mike to go over what his
Only
issue
because
is.
I kind of threw
Wait,
out.
my issue or the bet?
Well, we can discuss the bet, but I think what the conversation we wanted to have is why is Mick Foley
Why is
even in
Mick Foley
this
there?
match?
Right.
Since I threw out my idea for booking wise, I would say Braun loses initially, but he does do a cash in and gets the win.
We cashed in. Already.
He is cashing.
Oh,
That's why he's got the match.
that's my bad. Yeah. I still say Braun wins. though.
Although you may have stumbled upon something brilliant there. It would have been phenomenal booking to actually have them name him the number one contender and get the title match without a cash in and lose and then come back like the next night on Raw and cash in and win.
Or get up that night and cash in
Or
and win
cash
right
in,
away.
Yeah, cash in and win right
Beat
away.
him up, then cash in. You know what I mean?
Just that accidental. Better booking.
I'll make mine simple. All the belts.
Roman.
Roman.
So Mick Foley is in this match, guys.
Yeah, and Chrome and I had a little back and forth earlier today because I don't think either of us are happy with this.
I mean, why? I understand what he's done for the legacy of Hell in a Cell, and for everybody saying that the Undertaker it kicked off with Undertaker and Shawn, and Undertaker was a huge figure to build this match, but this match became iconic when Mick Foley was thrown off of the cage by Undertaker and then put through the cage. So, to me, when we talk legends, when we talk the biggest icons of this match, it's Mick Foley's 1, Undertaker's 2.
Right. And there is a special airing on the WWE Network immediately after the pay-per-view called Mick Foley's 20 Years of Hell. So certainly there's a level of promotion going on
There's a
there.
parallel to it, absolutely.
But
why?
Why?
Why have him in? He's hobbling. He's crippled. Like, for all intents and purposes, and I'm sure they're gonna talk about it in that special. But why have this guy in this match? And we talked. The bet is he's gonna have some kind of a bump, and we're not talking like he's gonna take a punch or he's gonna this and that. He's gonna have like a legitimate bump, something that's gonna involve either a weapon or the cage.
yeah, Chrome and I have bet 2 road sodas,
2 roadies.
2 roadies, that he will either go into the steps, into the cage,
Bring that handsome face in here.
through the cage. What was it? Into the steps, into the cage, through the cage, or off the cage.
Yeah.
So it's one of those 4.
Can I add one?
You can add one.
Accidental spear by Roman Reigns.
That's not
Well,
really a
we
spot.
talked about that. If it takes the accidental spear,
Into the rope.
it's either got to be into the cage or into the steps.
Oh, no, I'm not saying to add to your bet. I just think that's what's going to happen.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he will.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's got to involve some kind of an outside material.
An international object,
Yes, an international object.
an
yes.
inanimate object, if you will.
Yes. So that's the bet,
2 road sodas.
which is the only reason to have the guy in the match to begin with.
Right.
If he can even sustain that kind of a blow. But
So let me ask you guys, does having him in the match take any of the shine off of Roman and Braun? Is it even necessary to have him in there?
It's unnecessary. I don't even think it really takes the shine off of it. It's just kind of like, yeah, we know what happened with Mick. We've heard it about 3 million times. It's like, he's there. It's kind of like,
I agree with Maddie. It's not that it takes shine off, but it doesn't add anything to the match.
To be honest, I really can't answer that question until I see how they execute it. If they have constant mentions by Michael Cole about Mick Foley, if he gets involved heavily into the match, then it would take away from Roman and Braun. But I agree with Maddie that on paper and what probably is going to happen, my overwhelming feeling coming out of the match is going to be like, okay, why was Mick Foley there?
Well, the question that I posed to Chrome earlier today was, in a Hell in a Cell match, the referee's job is to count to 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
There's no rules. It's no disqualification.
Professional watcher. That's what he is.
Right. It's exactly right. So 99 times out of 100, when you have a special guest referee, it's to be an enforcer or to set up some sort of physical altercation. To me, it doesn't dot I's and cross T's to have him in a match where the referee really doesn't have a job other than to count to 3.
Agreed.
Can I make the extreme prediction? We talked about it with Survivor Series.
Was that a pun intended? An extreme prediction?
Not really.
Bang, bang!
Not really, but I'll pretend that it was. When we were talking about Survivor Series, the whole Team Shield versus Team Authority figures, we brought up, John Cena. I don't want to say it, but could it be a situation where it ends up being Shield, Kurt Angle, and Mick Foley?
No.
I don't think he can actually work.
I don't think he can actually work a match at all.
Just remember, like I said, I think it's an absolute wild card, but just remember, they put Bret Hart and the Jorts in a match involving the Nexus.
That would be pretty damn creative. I will give you that.
That could provide a reasoning, but listen, I don't want to see it, but they did put Bret Hart in jorts.
In jorts.
But I feel
against
like
Nexus.
Made him a U.S. champion.
I feel like Mick has too much pride to put himself in that kind of a situation at this point.
You would think.
I would maybe a
mean,
couple too many concussions.
Unless the payday is like of Shawn Michaels' ilk.
I don't see anybody paying him. He wouldn't be doing these little side shows and
if he was getting
signings if he was going to be that high in demand. No, I don't see that happening.
That's fine with me.
He could be in their corner, I guess.
It's either he's in the match or he's not.
I just, in all honesty, I really just don't understand at all why he is even involved, other than the fact that he's got a special airing right after the pay-per-view.
It would have made more sense, honestly, that if Kurt was the special guest referee.
Yeah.
Because at least he has connection because he was the GM for a little bit.
Let me ask you guys this one. Does the fact that he came out and cut his promo during Elias's segment have any tie-in whatsoever with this title match? Do we get any sort of Elias involvement to get back at Foley and cause some sort of distraction or something like that?
No, I think similar to Trish Stratus, it's Elias isn't doing anything, but it keeps him relevant.
It's just
in a
a
spot.
way to introduce this. Yeah,
correct.
This is what they did with Heath Slater right before Raw 1000, where every time it was, I have a match and it's a legend. Every time Elias comes out, there's going to be some kind of return or interruption. That's just his thing right now.
Yeah. Wait, say that last part again. Was that a question?
No.
Oh, I thought you asked.
I thought it was a statement. I thought it was a statement.
No, I missed the
Maybe it
second
wasn't.
half of it.
No, I had said that every time Elias has a promo,
Yeah.
it means that, there's going to be some kind of return or interruption.
Oh yeah.
Trish Stratus,
I mean, that's
Mick
essentially
Foley.
that's his gimmick right
Right,
now.
but
because
from
he's not in the, it's keeping him relevant and on television.
right.
It's a
within
filler,
big,
yeah.
But from a storyline perspective, it could make sense, especially if the distraction wound up costing Braun the win, because who has spent the better part of the last year getting destroyed by Braun? It's Elias.
I mean, yes. I mean, it's one
It's-
of these things that makes sense.
I
but
understand that it's beyond reach.
You're
I
two steps
get
ahead
it.
of WWE.
Well, that's par for the course.
Well, exactly. That's
So, do we want to move on to some of our? Do we want to do all in, or do we want to do that?
Well, we're tight on time, and there's some good stuff, so we're going to go into this.
All right.
All in on let's do a live one on All In if
Okay.
anybody wants to get in on that. We'll do a live video on it
I'd be down with that.
on the group.
Ryan's in.
So, this day in wrestling history, actually a lot of stuff happened this day in wrestling history.
This day in wrestling history.
20 years ago today was Fall Brawl. And in that Fall Brawl,
in September, Fall Brawl.
This was Team WCW versus Team NWO Wolfpack versus Team Hollywood Hogan, or
Okay.
NWO Hollywood.
That's 98.
Diamond Dallas Page got the pinfall over Stevie Ray. As a result, he would be the #1 contender for the heavyweight championship. Stevie Ray, good lord.
Booker T's brother.
Not on this day, but a couple days previous to this, but 19 years ago today, Eric Bischoff was removed from his post as WCW president.
And the beginning of the end.
And that was the beginning of the end, that's very monumental. And then they tried to bring him back, but it was too little too late because our boy Vinny Russo took over.
The day that will live in
Schmuck.
infamy for the promotion down south.
14 years ago today, Mike Bucci, a.k.a. Simon Dean, made his WWE debut.
Oh, my God.
I love that guy. He's the biggest Cowboys fan, and we go at it hard, but I love that guy.
Or Nova, either one you want to use.
Yeah, Mike, we were talking about him just before the show, which is why I thought it was important to bring him up.
Yeah, interesting.
17 years ago today, this is a good one, so it was actually supposed to take place 2 days prior, but because of the September 11th attacks, 17 years ago today was the SmackDown that aired after 9/11, where Vince McMahon came out, gave that memorable speech.
It was the first public gathering of any kind in the United States after the attacks on 9/11.
Yes. Yep. And Vince gave out a great speech about how we're not going to let any terrorists come in and change our way of life. It was really wonderful. You can see the clips on YouTube, on the network. Really a cool thing. So, and obviously with this week with 9/11, we all remember that. So.
And the best part of that night was, aside from the speech, was Lillian Garcia belting out the national anthem, bawling her eyes out, and killing every note.
Yeah, it was really something very, very special. So that's why I want to make sure we read that one.
Absolutely.
Good show this week, guys. Hell in a Cell, obviously, is on Sunday. I look forward to earning my 3 beers from Mike. It's going to be a good time. Mr. Brodo, welcome back, man.
Thank you.
We loved having you back.
Good to be back.
You may get one of those beers at most.
Mr. Mataraki, welcome back, sir.
Thank you, sir.
It was good to have you. You're off the rest of the month. We'll get you back
We'll
next month.
see you guys in 2 weeks, actually. No, 3 weeks.
3 weeks. I got your schedule.
Yep.
I found the schedule. We're good. I know when you're back. Stay tuned, though. Hockey Happy Hour's coming up. Maddie, give us a read.
All right, then. Lazy Booking was brought to you by Gibson Mayer, LLC, your certified public accountants located at 301 Oxford Valley Road in Yardley, PA. And you can give them a call at 215-369-3300. Tax season will be back before you know it, so be ready, be prepared, and call Gibson Mayer.
As always, the fam drives it. Thank you guys for your comments, participation. Maddie, great job, buddy. The Ginger Gang, greatest tag team in sports and wrestling sports talk history. We'll see you guys next week.